So this is the door with the passcode. You can't actually unlock it from this side. You have to unlock it from the other side with the passcode. It's dumb. So, the reason I bring up this whole story, and it does have a reason. So as I said, one of the things you don't notice is how much time you end up spending doing something sometimes. Fuck's sake. This is all you end up doing with freaking hunters in this game. You just end up trading shots, and it's so bad for the player. So bad for the player. Fuck, if I could get in there in time. Good. Well, that's nice. That's never really been my thing either, so... So, yeah, so... That breaks up. It falls apart. And, of course, I then suddenly realise how much time I actually had. Because I didn't realise how much time I had been spending the majority of evenings just messaging backwards and forwards. Like, you don't realise it. You just don't realise how much time that ends up taking of yours. And it's like February, and I'm just like, well, what do I do now? You know, I've got all this free time. My usual thing I would used to do, especially when I was growing up, is like I would, you know, go from school, I'd come home, I'd go into my room, and I'd just play video games. And I would do that because the family situation wasn't great. I joke about always with my family. Like, my teenage years were over about 14, 15 years old. Because there was so much bullshit going on in the house sometimes that, like, yeah. Once I hit, like, 15 years old, like, my teenage years were over, unfortunately. There was just nothing I could do about it. Like, that was just how my life went, basically. I was forced into just dealing with shit I shouldn't have to deal with a lot sooner than I had to. I was going to die properly. Don't know if you need to wait for him to do the animation when he dies, but making sure. And that's what I would do. Like, sometimes I'd go, like, you know, obviously I had my friends, I'd go out and play and do this or that, whatever else, and that's great. But definitely a lot of the time I would come home and I'd play video games, because once I shut my front door, pretty much, you know, and that was my space. It was a space that no one else could really get into. Probably don't need to fight this dude. I'm just gonna make sure of it. And I would just, like, it was my escape area. The problem is that I was left pretty empty after the breakup, and it's like I didn't know really what to do with myself. And it's like I could play games again, but the thing is that, like, I could do that, but it's just I knew that it wasn't gonna be enough. I knew that I needed something else to get my teeth into, to, if anything, just take my mind off of like the whole situation and stuff breaking up and that. I needed something else. So I started going onto the internet. Now, the internet had been a reasonably new thing in my life. I'd had it for a couple of years or so. But more importantly, having internet with a computer was very new for me. I only got, like, a proper computer that could surf the internet maybe, like, 3 or 4 months before the relationship thing. So I'd only had it for about a year. And, like, I used it for bits and pieces here and there, but not as much as, and nowhere near like I do today, of course. Nothing of the sort. And so I was, like, left with this big, massive cavern in my life, and I needed something to fill it. So I did like any good in-person would do, is I started exploring the internet. Blessing in disguise, probably so. We can ditch this now. We are going to open up the other door just to say it's open. Call that a day. Use our code here. Like, we have no need to enter this door, but we'll open it just for the sake of saying we've done it. I don't know, I mean, like, you know, it wasn't. So, yeah, so I started going on the internet. And I did sort of ultimately end up going back to the one thing that I relied on in the past, which was video games. And I went onto this search engine for this site I'd never really heard of before. Hey, you got the code? You get it from Barry. If you wait for Barry to give you another rope over on the right side, he does also give you the passcode as well. That's how you get it. So that's how that occurs. Pick up our various weapons here. We're going to be needing these. So I start looking at video games. I look up like old video games, stuff I've played before in the past. So you're looking, you know, like sort of stuff and then NES and PlayStation 1, just looking up just all sorts of random shit. And then I stumble upon this thing called a Let's Play series. Now, I'd never heard of this before. And I was like, you know, it was for an old game that I played like way back. I don't remember the exact game, but I will tell you who the guy is. And it's something that's already actually been mentioned in this stream. I'm sure some of you guys also know him, and that is a guy called Necroscope86. Now, if you don't know who he is, he was a guy who was British. He had a channel where he played a variety of games, horror games mainly. Resident Evil, he's played like the Dark Seeds, a few other bits and pieces. Did like original XCOM, a few bits and pieces like that. Ended up watching him play like I forget even what it was, but I watched him playing like a variety of bits and pieces. And I was like, you know, this is all right. It's not too bad. It's pretty cool. So that was that. I then noticed I then was like, he wasn't the only person I watched. There's a few other people I sampled, but there was two main ones. One was him. And there was another guy who I still watch every now and again. This guy called Grimmith. Now, Grimmith has all sorts of crazy stuff that he's done over the course of the years. He's been doing this for like 12, 13 years or so. And he has, yes, the original save state abuser. Yeah, exactly. I was going to talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, Necroscope86. You guys might want to, by the way, hold on. Yeah, if you guys might want to just refresh your streams, we have lost some frames. I think we're a few seconds apart from each other. So you guys will want to, because we're in the middle of story time. I want you guys to be sort of fairly up to date here, but I think we're a little bit out of sync here. So because he only just replied about Necroscope, I talked about like 30 seconds ago. That's something ridiculous. Let's quickly go ahead and put this. We'll do the red gem first. What the hell? So yes, we had Necroscope, the original save state abuser, and we had Grimmith, who still does series every now and again to this point. He still does Twitch streams, bits and pieces. He's done all sorts of crazy stuff over the course of time. I appreciate his older stuff more than some of his recent stuff, but it was still very, very enjoyable. And you know, it was good, and he still does bits and pieces from time to time, and that's awesome. I've seen some very obscure games I wanted to do, like King of Dragon Pass. The Urquan Masters, he did a series of before, which I had actually played before, and I do want to delve into at some point. Also, hello! We'll be taking all of these goods. And there's a few other people I watched here and there. I think I watched a couple of RPG series from, I think it was H.C. Bailey. I don't watch him. I didn't watch too many of them. But I watched several people doing this whole Let's Play series business. And there was two things that I learnt about, well, three things that I learned about Let's Play series watching these various people. The first was, holy shit, did Necroscope abuse save states? Like, I thought I was bad when I started doing this stuff 10 years ago. Holy Jesus, I forgot how badly he would use those. And it was, like, pretty outrageous. Yeah, you're right, Ash. The game gives you loads of amount. I can't remember getting half this stuff. You know... And it was pretty outrageous, you know. And there's definitely times to use save states to show off stuff and bits and pieces, but it's like any hint of damage, he'd like reload. It's like, really? Yeah, he was only testing. All right, take care, Stone. We'll catch you later, man. We'll catch the rest of the stuff. So I learned that was outrageous. The second thing I learned was that, as it turned out, there was quite a lot of people who actually delved into this whole business of doing like these Let's Play series, you know, all sorts of people. And these weren't people with crazy professional setups. These weren't people that had put in like hundreds or thousands of pounds to be able to do this sort of thing. You know, they were sort of people, sort of like anyone else. And I looked at it, And I felt, and I realized, and I was like, I really enjoyed the style of content. I enjoyed it a lot. The third thing I realized was I looked at it and I asked, why can't I do this? I enjoyed the idea of it. I really enjoyed the kind of the idea behind it, and that you could kind of do whatever you wanted to do. It was video game related, so it was something that I knew plenty about. And being honest, I was in a stage of my life where, like, I had a vacuum to fill. And I didn't really know how I was going to fill it. I wanted to have the ability to get to know more people, but unfortunately, like, because of the way my past had been, like, I didn't really, the school form didn't matter. Completely, like, was a no-go there. And I didn't really know many people, outside the few people that I did know, and I just, like, no one I knew really did that sort of thing either, like, you know, going to clubs or that sort of thing. It just wasn't a thing, you know? It just wasn't a thing that I would do. So I looked at this and I thought, well, it's something I can have a play around with. I could maybe, you know, have a crack with this myself, and, you know, I might enjoy it. And being brutally honest, I thought it was also going to be a way for me to be able to, basically get to meet more people, hopefully. And I thought that was legitimately something that I could look to do. What am I doing next, by the way, kids? Do any of you guys know? I've been talking so much, I don't actually know what I'm meant to be doing next. It's the battery, isn't it, for the underground, I think, is what we're doing next. Pretty sure that's our next destination. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, battery as well. So yeah, it's a pretty extreme way of trying to go about and see if I could perhaps meet some new people. But I suddenly had all this time in my life, and I was like, well, let's go ahead and do something with it. So it would take a while, and I'd also talk plenty about this with Frory, because I mentioned it to him first, and I was like, I talked to him about it. It's like this whole Let's Play series. There's literally these guys just play these video games and just talk about them. They're kind of like, and it's like, the thing with Let's Play series is they could be what you want to be. And that was the other thing I learned as well regarding the series, because different people approach Let's Play series in a very different way. Yeah, you've got people like HC and others who play in a very walkthrough sort of style. They'll play for it. They'll tell you what to do. They'll give you the best strategies. They'll give you how you should approach things and how you shouldn't approach things. And they'll kind of lay it out for you. Then you got people who don't do that. Who play it very laissez-faire, and it's more about the experience. And even if you know the person playing, like, it's obvious they know the game very well, usually, but they don't beat you about the head with it. And that was one of the things I felt a couple of times, is when I was deciding I actually wanted to do this Let's Play stuff, I wanted to look at different people playing it so I could get an idea of what to do and what not to do. I didn't really sample any big channels. I don't really watch any big channels. I just don't like doing that. I don't know why, but, like, I think the biggest channel I'm subscribed to has, like, maybe 500,000 subscribers or something like that. I just don't enjoy watching really big channels. I don't know why. Maybe I just like stuff feeling a bit more, like, kind of personalized or whatever else. Is what it is. Yeah, it's just the way it is, folks. So, we need the battery. We need the valve handle. We need the crank, wherever the hell I've put it. There's the crank. Okay, good. And there was things I learned. So I decided that I wanted to kind of blend somewhere in the middle. You know, I wanted to, like, obviously, like, play games, especially to start with. I figured I should play games that I know incredibly well. So Resident Evil Director's Cut, Medieval series, Final Fantasy VI as well, that sort of thing. I wanted to play games I knew very, very, very well. But I didn't want to come across as, like... There is a hunter in here, I thought so. I didn't want to come across as like kind of like I'm better than you sort of thing, you know. Even if it was like I knew the game. I was about to say, is he dead? Is he playing dead? What the hell was that? I stunned him, I guess. And that's why, you know, if you look at a lot of my I do it now. And I play series, especially Resident Evil wise, of these games that I obviously know incredibly well, and I'll play dumb about the story. Because the way I look at it is, I want to, like, if people are watching, I want to be able to give people ideas of how to tackle difficult situations if they ever decide to take these games on, which some people do, because they're crazy. But the last thing I wanted to do, which I saw with some series, and some people playing this games, was that they would basically just spoil the story. And they'd just talk about things happening before they ever happened, and it was infuriating to me. I was just like, why would you... You know, that's the last thing you want, because, if you've played the game before, great, you know what's going to happen. But you knew what was going to happen anyway, so you didn't need to be told what was going to happen. And if it's a game that you've never played before, and with some of these old games, it's possible you've never even heard of them before, like, why would you ever want to, like, talk about the story and just spoil it? You know? Like, it's just ridiculous. Why would you want to do that? Like, it's like if someone played, it's like if someone, you were watching someone play Resident Evil 5 for the first time, and while you're busy fighting the Majini, the guy just says, oh, this is gonna be, you know, at least this is easier than the Wesker fight coming up, and you're like, Wesker, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, and you'd be furious for something like that being spoiled. You know, you'd be steaming. Being told, because obviously that's one of the major catch-all thing is like, what are you talking about? So I didn't want to do that. So I would play dumb about the story. I would kind of like make leading statements, and I've done this for all my 10 years, and I still do it now. Even if I know what's going on, I'll kind of like hint sometimes towards the story. I'll kind of throw questions you should be asking. Sometimes I'll even kind of hint people in the wrong direction, and I'll kind of like suggest something which I know is incorrect. But if you've never played the game before, you might legitimately believe is correct, you know, to try and make it a better experience for the viewer. Because that's ultimately what it's about, you know. It's not just about me playing the game. It's about kind of building that kind of like, that world for the person watching, if they've never played the game before, which I think is where you've got to focus. If you've played the game before, then it'll become obvious very quickly that they know what the fuck you're doing. So you don't need to delve into that. And I also decided I was not going to use state saves like Necroscope 86. Which is something I did my damnedest to do. I used to be not great at it when I first started doing series, but as time went on, I grew out and out and out using save states. And I only use it now as either an easier save system, or if I want to demonstrate something particularly. I know, right? I'm breaking kayfabe. I'm sorry, believer. Sorry, man. It's a cruel, cruel world. So that was kind of how I went and approached doing Let's Play series. Sorry, Internal. Don't know what to tell you, buddy. Don't know what to tell you. But it was pretty obvious. Like, it's obvious. Like, if I'm talking about, like, what you should be doing against these various enemies, and then, like, freaking, you hear this massive, that in Nemesis, for example, and you hear, like, and I'm like, huh, I wonder what that could be. Obviously, I know what's going on, but it kind of plays around with it, you know? You don't have to show the hand. Play the people if they don't know. It makes them far better views, because that's the way I would want it. So that's obviously how I'm looking at it. So, right, my memory of this area is not very well. I think we have to do Hexcrank first, whereas I think in Remake you can go both ways. So, yeah, no worries, MG. Like everyone. Oh, hi,
Jill. What good timing. A moment ago, I heard someone's voice coming from this hole. Let's go together since it's dark and we can't see very well.
Yes is the correct answer here, right? I think yes is the correct answer. I just want to check with you guys, right? I remember this now. But I think yes is the correct answer.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, then I'm gonna cover you. Let's hurry.
Thank you. Just wanted to
Hey,
double check.
are you all right? I can go first if you want me to.
Now this one I don't remember. I think this is no. Because he goes off and gets himself in trouble.
Okay, let's go, Barry. I'm depending on you.
Yeah, because now he will accompany you, and you'll actually be friends and shit and whatever else. Otherwise, you get yourself into trouble. Which is obviously not good. This way, you both come up to Enrico, basically. No. I've told you many, many times, I've said on this channel, there is no refunds for time spent on this channel. That's not how it works. That time you've invested is not returnable. I'm sorry. You just have to cherish it for whatever you can, and enjoy. Pretty much. All right, let's go grab the first aid. We're gonna need this. There's a lot of shit to fight down here. We are not in the best situations. As it turns out, you can't get back that time. I'm sorry, man. Take it up with the man upstairs. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to say I had a bad upbringing. Because there are people that I know that have had significantly worse than me. But I think I've come to realize over the course of time that it's had a lot more impact on me than I wagered. And a lot of that has not been good. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. As I said, if I had the opportunity to be 13 or 14 and make different decisions, probably even go back a couple years before that, I would. And being brutally honest, if those decisions meant that I ended up not doing this, then so be it. That's the way it goes. But having said that, and having gone through the situation I have, and the fact that basically the whole reason that this channel exists is because I was getting over a breakup of a relationship, which I have told her as well. We didn't speak for years until a point afterwards, and I spoke to her, and I messaged her a link, and I said, I have you kind of to thank for this. This is like 5 years into the channel, and I said to her, you know, if we hadn't have broken up, I probably would never have started this channel. It's become such a huge part of my identity, which it has. Like, I was a very private, sort of quiet person. That was the only reason I wanted to do this. I wanted to find a voice for myself, which I didn't have. Uh-oh. Barry? Good job, Barry. Well done, man. What a boss. Yeah. Well, I can load up the grenade launcher, I think. But there's no real point loading up the grenade launcher until you go up to 6. Because 6 is the maximum. So it's like... you basically want to leave it empty. You might want to change ammo types, but you can't do that. Thank you, Colin. So, while Barry wanders into a wall, let's go and have a chat with Enrico.
Is that Jill?
And we'll carry on with more stuff.
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah?
You're alive!
Wait there! Are you with anybody, Jill?
What? Oh, yes.
Enrico!
So, Barry and Jill together.
I know, right?
Are you all right, Enrico?
The stars are doomed. Someone is a traitor. Everything was plotted from the start by Umbrella. Ha!
Whoops.
Enrico!
Yeah, that kind of stream. Well, it is now. I say it was story time. You know, it's stuff I've never really talked about before, and it's like something I need to, you know. Barry is investigating again. Well, he won't be needing this. Yes. Yes, he does. It's like he sees it. The thing is, like, the bullet gets fired, and he has like that instant. It's his life flashing before him, isn't it? It's just like, and then boom. I don't know. Enrico's not had a good day. But yeah, so the thing is, like, one of the weirdest things about this channel, and it's something that I kind of was hoping for, but also didn't expect, like, to the degree, is how much, like, you guys know me as the Black Shadow, right? Ow, hold on. Let me resolve this situation. This could be pretty bad. Fuck. We're in trouble. Fucking hunters, man. The worst. So you guys know me as the Black Shadow, but obviously that's not what it says on my birth certificate. It says something completely different. Who I was, and you can also tell this, like, obviously, over the course of, like, if you look back at, like, some of my early videos, obviously my series is 10 years ago, and you look at who I was then compared to was now, and just completely different people. And I don't mean that just in the sense that I'm older and I speak a bit more confidently now, whatever else. I mean legitimately, like, pretty much, I think that everything in my life that has occurred over the past 10 years and how much things have changed is, like, outrageous. And the one thing I didn't expect to happen so much is that, like, when I started doing this channel, there were two people. There was Black Show 993, and then there was who I was when I wasn't on the channel. And what happened over the course of a couple of years is that slowly, like, they basically morphed into, like, one person. To the point where basically, like, I kind of am the Black Shadow in just my life. Like, and I didn't expect it to happen, like, anywhere near, like, what it did. Like, it was pretty shocking. Like, it's just, like, and you don't expect these sort of things, you know? I'm glad for it ultimately in the end, because it's what I needed. But, like, me doing this channel, it let me find a lot about who I am and who I could be, and find my personality, which, like, never really existed before, and it just wasn't a thing, you know? And again, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Let's go get this guy. Enjoy the loving music down here. He has more friends, by the way. You motherfucker. Play knife. I mean, in a manner of speaking, you could say that. No, not really, but it is something that I didn't realize would happen so much. It's like, you know, it's not like I put on the headset, I sit down in front of a microphone and on the Black Shadow. I'm just who I am now. And, like, me as a person and me as Black Shadow 993 are basically one and the same now. And it's been the case for years. And it's for the best. Like, I can't even imagine me beforehand now. It's just a completely alien concept. But it's like, it infuriates me because I look at it now and I just think, why couldn't I have done this beforehand? You know, if I had the... But then it's like, I can't really blame myself because to me, like, I didn't feel like the opportunities ever presented to me because I had my group of, like, say 10 people or so I kind of got along well with at school, and that was about it. And, like, it wasn't basically until, like, year 9 where any of them really tried to have any attempts to get to know me, and I didn't really want particularly to know them. I just got on my own thing, and that's kind of the situation that was. And, you know, it sucks. I look back, I wish that hadn't been the case. Because there were some good people. And I noticed it as well that we had before COVID kicked in, we had a reunion of the school class like 10 years or how many years after the class gave up. And it's like, it was awkward for me because there's a lot of people there that I just didn't really know and I didn't really care particularly much to know at the time. And like, a lot of the people still get in touch with like Facebook and that stuff, which I don't use. But I got told about it and I made a point of being there because it was like, to me, it's like, shit was fucked up and like things could have and probably should have been better for myself, but they weren't. But at least this is some sort of way for me to kind of like mentally kind of reconcile it and say, even if like I didn't really get to know them or whatever else, I could come 10 years later and like they're all doing this stuff and I'm doing mine and we could just be friends and have a drink. And I could go home that night and say, you know, shit was what it was, but it's not your fault. It's not really anyone's fault. Nothing ever is. When it's 13, 14 years old and there's like a bunch of 90 or 100 of you, this shit just happens. It's no one's fault. You can't hold it against everyone. It's just, you can't do that. I've never been one to hold grudges against only myself. So. And believe me, I can go into a real wall of self-pity when I need to. Believe me, I'm very good at that. Anyways, Black Tiger fight here. We don't have the... Shit. We don't have the flame rounds in. I can't twitch them out. Not allowed to do that, unfortunately. So we are going to have to fight him with the grenade round, which is fine. You be careful. He doesn't always poison you, but he can definitely do that sometimes. There we go, we got him. Nice. Sweet. We'll just load up those, that'll be fine. Let's go ahead and take the knife so that we can bust open the webs here. Not use up our rest of our ammo, because we aren't doing great with ammo here. Oh, jeez. I'm about to get us sorted here. Hold on. Let me get out of here and let me come back in, because, yeah, look at all this shit coming at us here. You know, all the spiders. Terrible. It's a shame that music in here only plays in this one room, and once you come out, it never plays again. That's the thing in this game. This game has a couple of really cool soundtracks that play in one room for half your time in there, and that's it. Kind of a shame, you know? Okay, you don't stab fast that way. Okay. Stabbing funkily since 1998. Good on you, Jill. Good on you. Alright, we want to swing over this way because there's an item box here in original Resident Evil. Which does not exist in the remake. They completely remade this area. Yeah, there's all sorts of goods here. Now we're starting to look a bit better supply-wise, so which is good because we were looking dicey for a while. We could probably put this away for the. We can put that away. That'll be fine. We need the hex crank, and that can go. And we shouldn't need the health. I don't believe. I might just take like a green if we got a green loose. That would be fine. We're not gonna die, everyone. We'll be okay. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of like, you know, spend some time because I've talked about it a little bit every now and again about why this channel exists, but like not many people know kind of the reasoning behind it. And yeah, it was basically a way to avoid depression, and to maybe try and get to know some people. And to be fair, like I have gotten to know some really good people doing this over the time. Some really good people I've gotten to meet, make friends with. Some of which I've had, you know, the opportunity to actually meet in person, which has been great. Some pretty recently, like, yeah, so I was in Birmingham, not too far away, got to link up with mayonnaise, which was really fun for the day. When I went and spent my 3 months in the States, that was to meet with 2 people as well. One being Heratura, who I stayed with for a month, with her and partner and little daughter. I was there in Florida for the month. That was really, really nice. And then my time in North Carolina was with someone else who was involved in the channel, who just as things kind of ended up working out, ended up being relationship number 2. Yes, I was Unky Shads for a while, which is I think, well, I wasn't Unky Shads, I was Unky, my own actual name, which sounds kind of better, I reckon, but it's still the same sort of thing, basically. We don't need the first name, we just put that away. But yeah, so that's kind of, you know, and I'm hoping, as obviously, unfortunately, COVID has been a bit of a bitch. There was more people I wanted to get to meet. Like Jugs is up somewhere north, and I was hoping to meet him. Then COVID kicked, and other bits of people. And hopefully, I'll get the opportunity to. We get to know. I'll get to meet more people involved in the channel over time, and it's done me a lot of good in the end. You know, especially like making the move eventually doing streaming, which was nervy. Definitely when I first did that. When I first did the first face cam vid as well, that was definitely awkward. But it's one of those things, again, you just kind of, you know, you've got to do it, you know? It's one of those. And I'm glad I have. Again, it's been extra parts of me being able to kind of learn up about, you know, find out more about who I am, get to meet some people. And maybe in some way make up for lost time, perhaps. Maybe. Yeah, exactly. You know? I don't know. I mean, it's possible there might be a point, someone next year, maybe. I'm like kind of quietly eyeing it up, but it's hard to plan anything with COVID at the moment. Things are looking better, but we'll see how things stand in time. Let's not die to this, by the way. How do we trigger this? That's how we trigger it. In Remake, it just throws it at you immediately. Right here, you've got to actually walk into it. Very good. Yeah, definitely, man. I will find another point. Elfenstein owes me a beer, and I do intend to meet up with him at some point, maybe like next month. Like my time has been reduced significantly recently because of all the stuff going on, so that's just a thing. So face count, yeah. I like, some people do. Like I kind of like. It goes both ways for me. I think for live streaming, definitely. I think for local recording, I prefer generally not using it. And the reason for that is because obviously when you're doing a live stream, it's all about it's about the immediate experience, you know. And that's just the way it is. A local recording, something I've pre-recorded. Where the fuck am I even going? It's here, is it? Oh no, this is Square Crank, isn't it? Oh, wait, oh, it's not. I was about to say, is that Square cranking me or something? There we go. But yeah, the whole point of doing a live stream is it's having a conversation, a dialogue, and it's the immediate experience. And for that, like, definitely, yeah, having a face cam definitely makes significantly better. But for local recordings, I don't necessarily agree. I think sometimes it can be, and I think for certain types of games it can be better. You know, obviously I did it for like the Clock Towers, and I did it for the there's the lab key. We did it for the Shogun 2 series, but it's mainly because they're just slower style of games. And I think like having the face cam helps. Like if it's something more, like a lot more going on, I don't think it's as necessary. And to be fair, sometimes it's nice just to be able to kind of just kind of record and not worry about it too much. I should have bought the other medal. I forgot. So let me go get that. You know, so I don't think every series on YouTube needs a face cam. You know, it's nicer to kind of not worry about that, but you know, it's a trade-off. You know, they're two different mediums. They're two different ways of doing stuff. There's some games that I would only stream and not want to local series. There's some games that I would local record but wouldn't really want to stream live because they just require more editing. Like I don't think I'd ever want to do like an RPG live because there's just, you need to do a lot of off-screen work really. There's you know, you need to make cuts, you need to edit out random fights. Like, you don't want to be streaming this. You don't need to be seeing this, so stuff like that. But I've had to get used to having the face cam, and you do. Over time, you get addressed. You kind of get accustomed to it. But you don't want to get too accustomed to it, you know. Otherwise, you kind of forget it's there, and then you start doing things and saying things that you just wouldn't normally do, and then you look like an idiot and you get banned, pretty much. So, I mean, I've done some of, like, Let's Play series in just my shorts. If that's what you mean. Like, when it's really freaking hot, yeah, I'll, like, there's no camera on, yeah, I've recorded several series bare-chested. Or at least parts of series bare-chested, believe me. Yeah. Like, this stream, for example, I've got to edit this stream anyways, because there's been frame drops. Which means I'm going to have to edit this post-stream anyways, to one way or another, to get this to, like, kind of, look correct. Otherwise it's going to look dodgy as all hell. I think this is the eagle and the wolf's the other side. I also think as well, when you're face camming, it can make, like, if you do need to start making cuts and stuff, it can make things kind of, a bit on the dicey side as well, because you've got to sync that up as well, and it's just, yeah. It doesn't always work, everyone. I think there's anything I want to talk about. I've talked about why I've started the stream. I've talked a bit about my first relationship, and like my second relationship came as a result of me doing this series. I won't go into too much detail on that because I don't think it's particularly necessary, but you know, there was good times, there was not so good times, like anything. But yeah, my 2-3 months I spent in the States, I learnt a lot about myself, that's for sure. Don't know, I haven't looked, I've been busy with story time. Been busy with story time.